second,
Yeah.
Vice Chair?
Yep, I can totally do that. Let me pull up the agenda.
Jessica will have it screen shared in just a half a second.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Microphone test. Can you guys hear me in Zoom land? Hooray.
Hear you.
Okay, Carol, will you get us started?
Yep, I sure will. So it's after 3 o'clock, so I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Do we need to do introductions or a roll call or anything like that? Or is that sort of the call to order, establish a quorum and introductions?
We'll go ahead and do a quick roll call of who we see that is on the line, just to make sure we've captured everybody and confirm our quorum. So I'll go ahead and go down the list here of everybody I've seen. If I miss you, let me know at the end. So we have Carol Campbell. Gary Sugar is in the room here with us. Patty Benger, is it Benger or Binger? Benger, okay. Patty Benger here in the room with us as well. Online, we have Gordon Rick. We have Roy Rosenthal here in the room. Ed Dills on Zoom. Jessica McMullen in the room. New member Mike Colombe on the line. So we'll go ahead and, did you want to have him do an intro afterwards? I can't remember if he got to greet everybody last month or not. Did we do that?
We did a little bit, but we'll give Michael a chance again for the folks who missed it last time
Perfect.
to say
Okay.
hi to everyone.
And then I saw, let's see, I think I saw Terry Hayes join us on the line. Is there any other CAC members that I missed so I can make sure I have you for the minutes? All right, with that, then we will confirm that we have a voting quorum. I'll turn it back to Ms. Campbell, and you can move on for your consent item vote.
Okay, diving into the consent items, looking at the agenda, which is up here on the page, does anybody have any additions, anything that needs to be changed before we move forward?
We do. PPACG would like to request that action item 5B be moved to an information item and be 4B. We had it mistyped in there, so.
Okay. Anyone have any discussion or questions or anything on that? Okie dokie. We don't need to approve that with any sort of formal or vote, do we?
We will just need the motion to approve the consent items as amended. And welcome, John DeVoe. I see that you've joined us.
I have.
Oh, great. I will look forward to handing it over to you, John.
Okay, now have we or call to order? Is that passed?
Yep.
We completed the call to order and we're on the consent items. We just put in a request to amend the agenda. So we're looking for a motion to approve the consent items as amended.
So
Motion to accept as presented, Ed Dills.
And Carol, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody don't want to? Signify by the same sign. Thank you.
Aye.
Which one? Who didn't want to change it? No, we'll record your vote. I thought I heard an aye. Okay. At this point, do we have anybody signed up with public comments?
No public comment was received.
Okay. Next item is informational items, AQCC rulemaking rule 22, ETRP. Who's going to handle that?
That is me, Jessica McMullen, your Policy and Communications Manager here at PPACG.
Jessica,
Yes.
point of order. We never approved the minutes for the board financial report.
Consent
before-
items are acted on as one item.
Okay, my apologies.
Sorry about that. Okay. So PPACG has been engaging in the Air Quality Control Commission's rulemaking relating to greenhouse gas emissions. There have been several laws passed in the past 2 years relating to greenhouse gas emissions, as well as efforts at the state level outside of those legislative efforts to work on what those greenhouse gas emissions and how they're being handled. Within the most recent bill here in 2021, really weird that that's the year, they proposed a rulemaking that was going to go through the Air Quality Control Commission. And Rule 22 was relating to employee traffic reduction programs. This program was proposed by the Air Quality Department at the state, and they proposed that areas that are in ozone non-attainment would be required to meet certain standards of reducing the number of single occupancy vehicles at businesses with more than 100 people who go to that location. This bill would not have related to us. We are in ozone attainment. When the regulation was introduced, one of the air quality control commissioners expressed an interest in expanding that to the entire state. This would have impacted us and would have been a very, very complicated issue because unlike the Denver and North Front Range regions, which have been out of compliance for years, we get no state or federal funding to run programs like this. We would have been starting from scratch and all of our businesses would have been starting from scratch. These programs would have cost $7,000 for each business per employee. So they would have been incredibly expensive for businesses to institute. And there's a great deal of concern. So all of your local governments and many of your local groups like the Chamber of Commerce all got concerned. We worked together with the Chamber, the City of Colorado Springs, the City of Fountain, El Paso County, and others to look at what this regulation would have done, what this rulemaking would have done, and how it would have impacted our region. Looking at that potential impact, if it had been expanded, we applied for party of record status. That gave PPACG the ability to say anything at the Air Quality Control Commission meetings and to be able to express opposition to the entire idea of them mandating an employee traffic reduction program statewide to areas that had never had anything to do with it. Our group that group of people decided that there would be 2 representatives from the Pikes Peak region, the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC, and the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. That way we were speaking with very solid voices with a lot of people behind us and not having so many distributed things. At the last Air Quality Control Commission's pre-hearing conference, the Air Quality Division had proposed a change to the Rule 22. They followed it the next day by completely withdrawing the section of the rulemaking relating to employee traffic reduction programs. This no longer is in play. The Air Quality Division had taken into light all of the opposition they'd received, all of the feedback they'd been given, and decided that they, instead of focusing on a rulemaking, wanted to focus on data collection and voluntary efforts. This has been exciting. This has been interesting. And we're likely to see something similar to this relating to vehicle miles traveled under the greenhouse gas emissions efforts happening throughout the state. We don't have any details on it. No rulemaking public hearings have been announced. More information will follow when those are announced if they do continue to progress. Does anybody have this? We're bringing it to you so you all know what's been going on as a very busy part of our legislative efforts for the last 2 months. And we had spoken with you a little bit about this at previous meetings, but this one got into a good bit more detail between our last meeting and now. Does anybody have any questions about what that process was, what our role was, or what we do and how we do it?
I just have a question. In places like Denver, do businesses pay $7,000 per employee, or how does that work?
So in Denver, their COGS and local governments and other organizations have had the opportunity to establish traffic reduction programs that are run through places like the Denver Regional Council of Governments and other organizations that businesses can use those programs, and in many cases have already established a professional at-large businesses to manage those programs, to support these. They don't have any mandated rules requiring them, but those efforts have been in place for quite a while. So businesses, because they've already got them established, are not paying those kind of fees. It's the initiation cost that's such a bite. Did anyone have anything else? Okay,
Jessica, who sponsored this?
the bill
Yeah,
or the rulemaking?
who sponsored the bill?
So the bill, the Air Quality Control Commission rulemaking that this was related to came out of Senate Bill 21-260, which was the large transportation funding bill that passed this year. So there were a very large number of sponsors, and that was one that we were actively engaged on, and we gave you several updates as it progressed. But within that bill, there were some requirements relating to air quality and how we would be handling greenhouse gas emissions. Because there is no direct way to measure greenhouse gas emissions, in many cases, we are making it equivalent as ozone compliance with the EPA. That's a measurement we all have. It's one we can use. So that is why you will see that in many cases, as we're talking about greenhouse gas, we'll be saying ozone, because there is no way to directly measure it. So the answer is there was no bill relating to this. The Senate Bill 260 required them to look, the Air Quality Control Commission, the Air Quality Division at the state, to look at how they would enact the requirements of that bill. This was one of their proposals, and they have withdrawn it. You're muted, John.
Oh, nuts. Does anybody else have any other questions on this? If not, I believe the next item we go to is the one we've changed on the agenda, correct?
Nope, we'll go to 4A first.
Mine doesn't have any numbers on it.
Sorry. So we're going to be going to the, I'm sorry. Yes, we're going to the next one. Sorry, everyone.
FY 2022-2025.
So the amendment to the Moving Forward 2045 Pikes Peak Regional Area Transportation Plan with Mark Northrup presenting.
Thank you. Mark, are you ready?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can everyone hear me okay? Good afternoon, Mark Northrup, Senior Transportation Planner at PPACG, as well as a lead on PPACG's Long Range Regional Transportation Plan. Today, I want to provide you with an overview of the plan amendment to the 2045 Moving Forward Plan. I first want to start off my presentation with some background for you. The process for amending the 2045 plan began in the spring when it was determined that a project being developed by the City of Colorado Springs would need to be incorporated into the plan. With the need to amend the plan, a call for amendments was issued in April. And as a result of the call, PPACG staff received 11 new project proposals and 1 request for change to an existing project. In addition to the project proposals, staff received text modification requests. Jessica, can I share my screen?
Sure, let me get you set up.
Thanks.
Turn mine on. All right.
Thank you. So a plan amendment document was developed by PPACG staff and regional stakeholders that outlines the key details of the plan amendment and provides further analysis of the projects. The amendment document is considered an extension of the 2045 RTP and is available for review and comment by you, the PPACG committees, the public, and acted on by the PPACG board. So the document includes the amendment schedule, the new project proposals, the modeling determination, an environmental justice analysis, revised financial plan estimates, and proposed text modifications. There is also supported material at the end of the document that includes the project and text requests from the different jurisdictions. So I'm going to go ahead and move along to the project requests. So the city of Colorado Springs is proposing two projects. The first is the US 24 Peterson Road Interchange project at a cost of $16.5 million. They're also proposing the Old Ranch Road Voyager Parkway to Kettle Creek project at a cost of $9.5 million. El Paso County is proposing two projects. The Judge Orr Bluegill Drive intersection realignment project at a cost of $10 million. As well as the Woodman Road State Highway 21 to US 24 project at a cost of $50 million. The town of Monument has two projects they're proposing: the Old Denver Road, Santa Fe Avenue to West Baptist Road at a cost of $15 million, and the State Highway 105, 2nd Street to the railroad at a cost of $10 million. There are also 4 projects proposed by Manitou Springs. There's the East Manitou Avenue Pedestrian and Drainage Improvements Project at a cost of $1.7 million. El Paso Boulevard Pedestrian and Drainage Improvements at a cost of $1.9 million. Lovers Lane and Creek Walk Trail Pedestrian and Mobility Improvements at a cost of $1.3 million. And the Creek Walk Trail Project at a cost of approximately $9.4 million. So in terms of total new fund requests, it comes to approximately $125 million. There's also a project requested by CDOT. It's a rail station design construction project at a cost of $5 million. And in order to accommodate this project, Colorado Springs and MMT is willing to reduce their bus stop amenity program from $19 million to $14 million. So essentially enabling the plan to maintain fiscal constraint. In terms of modeling the projects, the model does not need to be run for this amendment, given the minimal impact of the new capacity projects. Also, since the PPACG region is in attainment for criteria air pollutants, air quality model runs did not need to be made for this amendment. I also want to point out that a section of the document is dedicated to an environmental justice analysis, determining potential impacts new projects may have on minority and low-income concentrated areas. Environmental justice is something that's required as part of our planning process. As a group, PPACG staff determined the 2045 projects do not disproportionately impact federally protected classes and have the same potential impact, both to help and hurt, on minority and low-income concentrated areas as that of the entire region. So I just wanted to quickly show you, there's a section of the document here where I go into further detail on how the analysis was done. And then I want to move on to the financial piece. So PPACG staff did a financial analysis, and with the additional funds, all the proposed projects can be incorporated into the plan without the need to modify those projects already in the plan. And the plan will also maintain fiscal constraint. As far as the text modification requests are concerned, staff recommends a figure in Chapter 3 to reflect updated transit safety performance measures and targets from the Public Transit Agency Safety Plan. CDOT is supporting changing the I-25 and Research Interchange project description to State Highway 21 and Research Parkway Interchange.
Good grief.
CDOT is also recommending additional language, additional front range passenger rail language be added in chapters 8 and 12 of the plan to reinforce the region's commitment to passenger rail and help position the front range passenger rail project for potential funding from state and or other grants. So as you can see, I've laid out the details of that in the document. At this point, I thought I'd provide you with the next steps for the plan amendment. So the plan amendment will be going to the board in August, where it will be released for public comment. A public hearing will be held at the September board meeting. You'll be making a recommendation on the plan amendment at the September meeting. And at that time, you'll be receiving any public comments received during the public comment period, as well as a hearing. And the board will be taking action on the plan amendment at their October meeting. So as I pointed out, you can find the schedule in the early part of the document here, showing you the different steps and where the process started, which as I said, began in April, and hopefully will conclude in October. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions or take anyone's comments. Thank you.
I have a question, Ed Dills.
Ed?
Is this document something that you can email where we can kind of look at it and print it out and look at it closer on the screen? It's not the best, let me put it that way.
Sure, and actually, as far as I know, the document should be part of the agenda packet that was sent out.
Okay, I don't recall seeing all of that.
Okay.
I'll ask Jessica to make sure I got it.
It was
Okay,
provided
yeah.
in the packet as a link to the,
Okay. I might ask you to resend that because I didn't get it to open then.
Okay, we can go do that. No
Okay,
problem.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody
And Mark,
else?
this is,
Go ahead.
yes, sir. Michael Colomb. So as the county, city, state moves forward on these projects, is there an entity that provides forward-looking in the way of doing environmental assessments or environmental impact studies to ensure that where the projected projects are going to be done and expanded, that there are no wetlands or other protected areas or anything that needs to be looked at in that way? Is there so my question is there an environmental assessment that a certain government entity keeps their eye on when we're building roads and overpasses?
Yeah, that's definitely a part of the local planning process for sure. That's not something we do ourselves, but that's something the local jurisdictions would do as part of their planning process for sure. I don't know, John, are you on the line? I don't know if you want to provide any additional info on that. John Leosatos?
Yeah, no, usually we do have some treatment of environmental in the main document when we do it, but this is an amendment. None of these projects are in any sort of sensitive area. But even then, that sort of broad brush 50,000 foot level does not count as any sort of NEPA, National Environmental Protection Act sort of steps. So the individual projects as they move forward are required to have all of those permits and clearances as required by the type of project and the area in which the project is located. So it's something we only look at a broad brush at this level, but really does get into a much deeper level as the project is actually being constructed.
Yeah, thank you, John. It was more of an informational answer for me personally, but Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Yeah, this is Gary Sugar. Mark, can you just confirm? I thought I noticed, so the total bill for the 2045 plan is about 2.1 billion.
So the total for the new project, the total fund request is 125 million. And according to our financial plan estimates, we have about 500 and, hold on a second, let me find that table. An additional 516 million. So we obviously have enough to cover those new projects, as well as to maintain fiscal constraint, which is obviously very important.
So the
Does
number
that
I'm
answer
asking
your
the question
question, or-
about is the total you see on table 3, the 2.074, 2 billion. That's the total that's in the plan right now.
Correct. That's the adopted 2045 plan total, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? If not, I'm assuming, Jessica, this is just a informational because we moved this up. And there's no vote required at this point because it's going to come back to us again in September. Am I correct on that?
That is correct.
Okay. Then we will move along to amendment or FY 2022-2025 tip update for adoption. Catherine Wenger, Senior Transportation Planner. Catherine, are you there?
I am. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. This is Catherine Wenger, Transportation Planner, PPACG. So over the past months, you've actually seen this item multiple times. So we're finally bringing it to you for adoption. So this is for the fiscal year 2022 through 2025 tip update. So the current tip, which is our fiscal year 21 through 24, will no longer be in effect once this goes into adoption and into effect. So then we will be shifting into these years. So we do a new transportation improvement program, or TIP, which is our short range plan, about every 2 years. And so but what we've kind of explained to you over the last months is that we're actually going to be doing 2 new tips this year back to back, so that we can get into alignment with the statewide version, or the STIP, the Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, because we need to make sure that our version and their version are in alignment for years, so that we don't have any issues with budgeting projects. And so to fix that, we are doing this 22 through 25 tip adoption this August, and then you'll see another set of tip adoption documents and projects coming through in the next coming months for a planned adoption in January of 2022. So I just want to give you the heads up that that's why you're seeing two tips coming back to back. But for this one, we did develop this, and you've seen the draft over the past months, excuse me. And these are for fiscal years 22 through 25 for funding priorities for those years. We brought it to you as committees. We've also did a 30-day public comment period, and we held 2 virtual open houses and received comments. And we brought those comments to you previously as well, and have made updates to the document based on those. We also did receive, last month, we did receive some recommendations from one of our CAC members. So thank you. And we made updates based on that as well. So I wanted to be sure that you knew that we did make updates based on that. And those can be found at the link provided. And so since you have last seen it, we did make those updates from the CAC member, but no other updates have been made. Those were basically kind of grammar things, nothing too dramatic, but we do appreciate the help. So nothing substantial has been changed since you last saw this document. So this item is now for a requested recommendation to adopt to the board. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
Okay, anybody have any input on this? Anybody?
This is Patty Bencher. I recommend adoption of the fiscal year 2022-2025 Transportation Improvement Program to the PPACG Board of Directors.
Do we have a second?
This is Gordon Rick. I second.
Oklahoma, I second.
Pick whatever one you want, Jessica. Okay, we have a motion and a second. At this point, we'll look for a vote on this. All those that are in favor of the motion as read signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those-
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? Okay, motion's passed. At that point, we shall move on to member discussion. We're awful quiet today, guys. Anybody have anything you want to talk about?
This is Patty Bencher. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that this weekend is Colorado Springs' 150th birthday. So it's a once in a lifetime chance to come celebrate us. There'll be a parade on Saturday starting at 11 o'clock. And then there's also a festival following the parade on Vermejo Avenue. And there's going to be interactive booths, sports demonstrations, a kids play area, live entertainment, food and drink, and then a telecast live of the Olympics on a big screen. There'll also be some Olympic athletes there on a panel discussion and giving photographs and autographs as well. So it's a great time and hope you can all make it. It's a free festival as well.
Thank you.
I'd like to make an announcement, John.
Go ahead.
This is Ann Esch from Green Mountain Falls. The 83rd annual Bronc Day celebration is this Saturday. And it's just a full day with a parade, and I think there'll be horses this year. So that's lots of fun if people would like to join us. And the other thing was that just at the last Board of Trustees meeting, the contract was renewed for our young town manager. So that is in place. And let's see, we have a new member of our fire mitigation committee. And a new trustee, actually, Sunday King. We were short a trustee, but she was appointed by the Board of Trustees Tuesday. So I had quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Okay, anybody else?
I will chime in from here at PPACG, Jessica. I just wanted to let you all know we've been continuing to have air quality health advisory alerts for ozone for the past, I think we're up to 7 days in a row now where we have received an afternoon alert. What these alerts mean is they are encouraging people who are at, well, everyone to stay inside as much as possible, avoid heavy outdoor exertion. They're starting in Routt County every morning and coming down to El Paso and Teller counties in the afternoons. So this is wildfire smoke blowing through. They recommend folks stay inside as much as possible and do as much as possible to reduce your ozone emissions. Biking or walking where possible, combining errands, refueling cars and trucks after dark, and mowing your lawn after 5 p.m. All of those are simple steps folks can do to reduce their emissions.
Is that it?
That's my little plug
Okay.
for.
Okay, anybody have any comments about that? If not, we'll move on to items for the next CAC meeting. Brainstorming time, got anything you want to talk about? Do we have any items that are on the agenda that we don't know about yet that you got waiting for us? Jessica?
None that I know of, other than Mark will be bringing his buy for action in September. So you will continue to hear from Mark.
You know, one thing that I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but that almost was by surprise about that rulemaking and all that stuff about $7,000 a person. I suppose I never had a chance in the first place anyway. But that'd be a good subject just to talk about and see if we come up with any ideas that would be towards that for the future, because something's probably going to happen with electric vehicles and all that stuff coming up, and the need for income as gasoline revenue goes away. And that it just might be something to talk about. And if not, that's fine too.
Well, John, I can, I'd like to speak to that. Since I've been here off and on since '92, I've seen this place, Colorado Springs and surrounding areas where I live is very surrounding, but not so much anymore. Rama's really quite close. And there's been an increase in transportation and vehicles and commerce through here. And also just in the town of Rama, we have a road that kind of goes to the backside of 86, and you can jump up north to Elizabeth and that. And I think that rail is going to be something that we're going to be looking at in the future. I think it's going to become more popular perhaps because of just the transportation. Just going into town, no matter what day of the week, all the way down 24, there is always just a lot of traffic. And it is the summer and people are coming in, to visit and recreate and so on. But it's amazing though too to see the projects that they have earmarked or pinned are definitely hot areas that need a traffic to be eased a little bit, because there's just not enough infrastructure there, that was planned years ago. So anyway, that's my comment. So thank you.
Michael, one thing we might do that would be interesting is that maybe we just concentrate on what we can do around here. Woodland Park's got the same problem. I've never seen it this busy in my life. I've been here 26 years. It's just, you got to try and find a way to get around it and do that. And maybe we could have a joint discussion among all of us that are in Colorado Springs and the surrounding counties to see what we can do. It might be something we can add, Jessica, to some of that information. I think it's very topical right now.
We'll likely also bring
I agree. I think
more information when we bring on our environmental planner. We are hoping to post that position within the next month. So we'll probably dig into this a little bit more with all of the CAC as well, once we've brought on that person to help continue the conversation and make sure we're working in all of the different realms relating to it.
Very good. Thank you. We can just put it down the road a little bit. Okay. PPACG meeting and event schedule. Do we have anything else to talk about there? I'm not hearing anybody yet. That's okay. Anything else you want to add to us before that you want to talk about, Jessica, before we adjourn?
Just to thank you all. I really appreciate, I know the last year and a half has been crazy, so it's good that we've all been growing and learning and keeping us moving. So thank you all very much.
Thank you all. Thank you all for your volunteer. This is interesting. And I need a motion to adjourn.
This is Gordon Rick. I make.
This is Michael Colomb. I'm adjourned.
We have plenty of motions to adjourn. Okay, any seconds?
I'll second. This is Carol.
Okay, very good. Motion adjourned. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.